I knew something was wrong the moment Sister Miriam smiled at her. Not a warm smile, not a happy smile, the kind of smile people wear when they already know something you don't. Welcome to Shi Diaries, where we tell you beautiful stories that will change your lives every day. You know those church services where everything looks normal on the outside, but the air feels strange? That was the kind of Sunday this was. The worship team had finished singing, the pastor was smiling, the ushers were moving around like everything was peaceful. But one woman in that church was sitting so still, you would think she was trying not to be seen. Her name was Leah. Leah was not the loud type. She didn't fight with people. She didn't gossip. She didn't try to compete with the women who like to lead every department and also somehow control people's lives for free. She was just steady, showed up early, helped where she could, spoke kindly, went home. And maybe that was part of the problem. Because some people can handle drama. What they cannot handle is someone who stays calm while they're being watched. Now, 3 months before that Sunday, Leah had gotten engaged. Nothing flashy, no dramatic proposal video, no ring reveal every 5 minutes. Just a quiet announcement after service, and suddenly everybody in church had an opinion. Some were genuinely happy for her. Some were not, especially Sister Miriam. And let me explain Sister Miriam properly, because every church has one version of her. She was the kind of woman people called spiritually mature, but somehow every piece of private information passed near her and came out wearing makeup and high heels. She led prayer meetings. She corrected people's dressing. She always had concerns. And if she didn't like you, she would never say it directly. No, that would be too honest. She would just start talking about discernment. At first, Leah ignored it. When people started asking strange questions like, "Are you sure you know your fiancé well?" she ignored it. When someone else asked, "Did he really buy a car, or is that one of those borrowed ones men use for pictures?" she ignored it. When another woman leaned in after Bible study and said, "Just be prayerful. Not every man who kneels is ready," she ignored it. Because Leah thought, maybe people are just talking. But then the comments became too specific, too confident, too coordinated. That's when it stopped feeling like gossip and started feeling like a campaign. Still, Leah kept quiet. And that was why that Sunday shocked her. The pastor suddenly called her name during testimony time. "Leah, come and testify," he said. "Tell the church what God has done." Now, if you were watching from the back, you would have thought that was normal. But Leah froze because she had not asked to testify. She had not planned to testify. And when she looked to the left, she saw Sister Miriam smiling that same strange smile. Leah stood up slowly and walked to the front. The whole church was looking at her. Pastor handed her the microphone and said, "We thank God for the marriage he is preparing. Please encourage the young ladies." That was when Leah understood. This was not a testimony. It was a setup. Because all week, rumors had been spreading that her fiancé had left her, that he had been seen with another woman, that the wedding might not even happen. And whoever pushed the pastor to call her up there clearly wanted one thing: to see whether she would embarrass herself publicly. Leah held the microphone and looked at the audience. Then she looked at Pastor. Then she looked at Sister Miriam. And this woman did something that changed the whole room. She smiled. Not because she was happy, because she had understood the game. She said very calmly, "Thank you, Pastor. I actually won't be giving a testimony today." The room changed immediately. You know that silence that drops so fast it almost sounds like a slap? That one. Then Leah continued. "But I will say this. If anybody has questions about my life, my relationship, or my wedding, I would really appreciate being asked directly instead of being discussed in pieces. No shouting, no crying, no trembling voice. Just clean, quiet truth." And church people hate that kind of truth because there is nowhere to hide from it. Pastor looked confused. Some women in the front row suddenly became very interested in their handbags. And Sister Miriam, that smile disappeared so fast. Leah handed the microphone back and sat down. Now, any sensible person would have left it there, but this story would not exist if sensible people were involved. After service, one of the younger choir members came to meet Leah outside. And this girl was nervous. She kept looking behind her before speaking. Then she said, "I need to tell you something, but please don't mention my name." That sentence alone is how trouble usually introduces itself. The girl explained that about 2 weeks earlier, Sister Miriam had called a small prayer meeting in one of the side rooms after midweek service. Not an official prayer meeting. One of those unofficial church gatherings that somehow always begin with prayer and end with character assassination. At that meeting, she had told a few women that Leah's fiance was not serious, that she had heard things, and that the church needed to protect Leah before shame comes. But here was the real twist. She had no proof. None. Everything had started because Leah's fiance had refused to give money toward one of Sister Miriam's personal fundraising projects. That was it. He had politely declined. After that, somehow, concerns were born. Discernment arrived. Prayer points multiplied. It was pure revenge dressed like spiritual concern. Leah stood there outside the church gate holding her bag and just stared. Because that kind of betrayal is hard to process. Not from an enemy, from someone who prays into microphones. And suddenly every weird comment from the past month made sense. Every fake warning, every careful question, every side glance. She went home and told her fiancé everything. Now this man, Daniel, was angry. Understandably so. Steam coming out of the ears, angry. He wanted to confront people immediately. But Leah, still somehow calmer than everybody else, said no. She said, "Let's wait." That part matters, because waiting saved her from becoming the villain in someone else's story. The next Sunday, before service started, one of the church elders called Leah and Daniel into a small office. Apparently, the choir girl was not the only one who had spoken. 2 other women had quietly confirmed the same thing, and one of them even had voice notes. Voice notes. Tiny digital trumpets of judgment. In those recordings, Sister Miriam was heard saying Leah was too proud, that marriage would humble her, and that some women needed to be brought down before they start feeling special in church. Finished. Cooked. Seasoned. There was nowhere to explain that away. By the end of that week, Sister Miriam was removed from leadership. Not because she gossiped. Churches often survive gossip somehow. But because she used spiritual authority to manipulate people and damage somebody's name. And once that became clear, even the people who used to defend her became very quiet. Leah never stood up to fight her publicly. She never posted anything. Never made speeches. Never formed a prayer warrior revenge squad. She just refused to cooperate with humiliation. And honestly, that was the part I couldn't stop thinking about. Because some people don't destroy others with lies shouted loudly. They do it with soft voices, concerned faces, and "God told me to be careful." That's why that Sunday mattered. Not because Leah exposed anyone, but because she refused to let other people narrate her life while she stood there smiling politely. And sometimes that is the real test. Not whether you can defend yourself with noise, but whether you can stay calm long enough for the truth to embarrass the liar on its own. Some stories end with noise. This one ended with truth. This is Shi Diaries. See you in the next story.